I think our country needs it very much right now. But a lot of our problems are not going to go away with Donald Trump. And our country is truly divided along regional lines, along political lines, and it's going to take more than rhetoric to bring us together. And I'm watching very closely, what are the policies that the president-elect actually pursues? Are they divisive policies or are they unifying policies? And how does he do them? Does he try to jam them through executive order? Does he try to work with Republicans in Congress? All that stuff is going to be just as important as the rhetoric. And one last point I do want to make, because I think we spend a lot of time talking about the political divisions and the policy divisions. And there's a bigger problem than that right now in the United States, and perhaps even globally. And that's just the lack of trust that we have in our government, and the lack of trust that we have in anything big, multilateral institutions or corporations. And I think that's a problem that Biden's really going to have to work on, is trying to restore trust. Because I think if you look at some of the things that have happened in the US, whether it's what happened at our Capitol, that was all about a lack of trust from the right, a lack of trust in election security. But in the summer, you saw it from the left. You saw the protests and the riots, which was about a lack of trust in our police force. And were they going to do the right thing when it came to policing, Americans of color? And so there's this trust gap that Biden's really going to have to work to overcome to try to solve some of our problems.
I think you've really hit the nail on the head when you talk about the lack of trust and sort of a general pervasiveness of paranoia. And it's not just directed inwards at, say, US corporations or big tech or the electoral process or government or whatever you like to say you have lack of trust in, or the media even. It's directed outwards as well, isn't it? For example, at China. How do you restore trust?
Now, that's also going to be a very difficult problem. And I think it's really interesting. I've been looking tonight at some of the things the Biden folks have been putting out, talking about all of their priorities in the first couple of days. And he's talking about doing dozens of executive orders, dozens of executive actions, focusing on a whole range of issues and reversing Trump policies, talking about COVID, talking about the economy, talking about racial inequality and immigration and the Paris Accord. But notably, what's not on there is China. And you are going to see this continuity, I believe, of policy between the US and China, where the US right now, across the political spectrum, really doesn't believe that the Chinese government is able to be trusted right now with respect to managing data, with respect to playing by the international trade rules. And I think you're going to continue to see quite a lot of friction there, and you're not going to see an immediate rollback of those policies.